Thank you guys for being here. I haven't done a live video in a while. So I'm trying to jump back into this and share some really important and valuable information for those of you who are traveling to Mexico, wishing to live abroad in Mexico or another country. But there has been some serious changes since I have moved here to how Mexico is handling their immigration. In the past, when I've traveled here, and I've traveled here for a multitude of years, there has been the process has been honestly the most simple process of any country I have ever been to. Mexico has always had that. But of course, when things are easy and flawless, people have to abuse it. And I think from the abuse and from the current situation with the U.S. and how it's working with Mexico to decrease illegal immigration, we have come to this point where we are now. And that is a place of enforcement. Okay, people are being deported. If you are from US, from Canada, or from another country and you are passing through Mexico and you do not have proper documentation, they are deporting you. Like there is no, well, let me go back to the hotel and get my stuff. Wait, my homegirl has it in her purse. No. If they stop you and you do not have the documentation on you, on your person, you will be detained. And from what I'm understanding is you can be detained up to 60 days. And that's if you have proof. You can still be detained. So it's really important that you have your documentation on you. Now, what documentation do you need? You either need your FMM form, which is that little piece of white paper they give you when you come in through immigration. They usually stamp it and they will write on your form how many days you are being allowed to stay in the country. Normally, it's 180 days. Normally, that's how much it's always been, which brings me back to legal and illegal immigration. And this is not good. And this is something that I did not do and I wanted to avoid. But a lot of people live here illegally. And in the past, Mexico has allowed it. They would come on a tourist visa, live here, leave every 180 days and return and come back to their life. But Mexico was like, nah, no more of that. We're revamping our policies, and in conjunction with what the U.S. has going on, we're going to go ahead and do it now and do it this way. And it is very uncomfortable to know that you can be detained if you do not have your information, or not information, but your documents on you. And this has been very worrisome because I had lost all of my documents, my passport, birth certificate, social security, everything was gone. Okay, everything. So after I had my whole meltdown of all of my paperwork being gone, and I just was like, oh my God, like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? So I was able to make an appointment with the consulate, get my passport and things back. And I was actually able to do that pretty quickly. And I was really, really happy about that. But my passport does not give me any citizenship here. I would need, if I lose my residency card or something happens to it, I have to repeat that process all over again. So I try to keep my residency card with me at all times. Just so that doesn't happen, or I won't get stopped or any of that. I haven't heard of anybody in my circle being stopped or asked for documentation, but I have heard that some people here in PV have been stopped and asked for documentation. And as of recently, someone was deported from here, because people like to get on YouTube and brag about how they break the laws and things like that. Oh, well, this is how you avoid being legal. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. But what happens is the government catches on, and then that whole thing is gone, And me being black, and this is going to sound kind of bad, but me being black, I know better, because I have to always do things legally and not go through hoops, because I don't want to be targeted. And not saying that Mexico would, but I just don't want any of that. So I try to make sure that everything is intact. So again, whether you are a tourist, whether you are here on a temporary visa or permanent visa, you must have your documentation on you at all times, when you are traveling through Mexico, in Mexico, whether you just walk into to the corner, depending on where you live, and that they're out, then you need to make sure that you have that type of documentation with you. I don't want to be detained. That is not fun. I don't want to be in any jail. Jail in America, jail in nowhere. I damn sure don't want to be in a Mexican jail, okay? Because that's not going to be good. So no. No, 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 no. I don't need you to be in jail either. So how can we avoid jail and being detained? And take your documents with you. Not a photocopy. Please don't have a color photo. That's damn sure not acceptable. The original document with you. Please. Please. It is imperative that you have the original document, not a black and white, not a black and white, not a color, the original document. This is from, if you come in and if you start the process for your residency in the United States, when you come here to Mexico, you will have your visa fixed into your passport. Once you come here, because I did meet a lady not long ago that did not do the process at all and was able to get through with 180 days. But I was explaining to her, like, hey, do you need the lady's information so you can finish up your process? And she didn't know what I was explaining and what I was talking about. But I had to tell her, no, when you get here, they give you a certain amount of weeks to finish the process. And you need to finish this process or you have to start all over again. And another thing, too, if you are a resident here, whether you're permanent or temporary, when you return from the U.S. and you're going through those lines, you have visitors and you have Mexican residents. You need to make sure that you go through the line that says Mexican resident, because if you go through the tourist line and they stamp your paperwork as a tourist, you have to start that process all over again. You have to start it again. Like I hope I'm explaining this correct. If you have your Mexican residency, or if you are coming here for the first time, well, let me break it down. If you have your Mexican residency and you already have your residency card, it's usually your face and it says temporary or permanent. If you have that card with you, you need to go through the Mexican residency line when you get off the plane. That's the shortest line. You can't miss it. It's, hey, I belong here. This is my country. This is where I live. That's where I belong. That's the line that you belong in. If you are a first timer here and you just have your visa affixed to your passport, then you get into the tourist line and you tell them, hey, or you can possibly get into the residency line, possibly, but you can actually probably get into both because you've technically already started the process. But if you leave, let's say you're here, you've already established your residency, you're good to go. So you fly back to the States to handle more business. Well, once you return by air, I'm not sure what the process is by land, but by air, you go through the Mexican line. Okay. Now, if you are coming in and you have If you're coming in and you're not planning on living here, this is not your home, then you go through the tourist line. The lines we know about. You just get off the plane, you follow the herd of people, unless you have an airport escort service, and you follow the herd of people and you go through the regular tourist line. Here in Vallarta, it's been taking like 2 to 3 hours to process out of immigration. That's been insane. I always enjoyed coming here to Vallarta because it was really low key, and the immigration lines were not long or hectic. They were just really fast. And these last few times I've traveled, it's been like a nightmare, literally. And I've just noticed the climate of where I am now changing. There's been a huge influx of people moving here. Crime has increased substantially to everyday crime, and they're not the Mexican people who live here. They are the Mexican people who are coming in, and others that are coming in who are taking the opportunity to attack tourists, whether they believe you're a tourist or whether you live here. That's what they're doing, and it's really unsettling. It really is. It's such a wonderful place to live that I'm noticing such a huge uptick in crime and criminal behavior. It's pretty sad. Yeah, it's pretty sad. I wanted to also talk about those people who are like just following their heart's desire and maybe can't qualify for residency, or and what you can do. My suggestion, if you want to kind of float around and see whether this country is for you, I would suggest staying a couple of weeks in each place and prove onward travel. So maybe you're one of those ones that are just trying to figure out if Mexico's for you, and you're in the middle of this immigration crisis with the US and Mexico, and everyone trying to say, well, you need to be doing this or you need to be doing this. How can you kind of circumvent that? And if it were me, what would I do? I would travel slowly through Mexico and have all of my routes planned out. So if I was searching for family friendly places that were safe, I would head to Merida, and I would stay there for a couple of weeks. I would have my plane ticket with my start date, my end date, to prove to the immigration I'm only going to be here in this place for 3 weeks, and then you can go through Mexico itself without going back to the States and being here. That's what I would do. And then you can also do that in other countries and just go through place to place until you find that being your place. At least that's what I would do. But first, make sure you check the country's immigration rules, because these apparently this has always been in place, but a lot of us just never knew about it. And I can tell you that from all of the research that I was doing before I moved here, to make sure that I was legal when I moved here, or at least try my best to do what I could, I didn't see that. That you could be detained if you did not have your paperwork. Now, it could have been that I missed it, and it could have been there, and I just missed that part. But I just never knew that was a policy. Now in the States, they tell you to do that, but going to jail for not having an ID, the likelihood of it happening just depends on where you are. If you're black and you're walking in a place where they just need a reason, then that'll be a reason. And that's another reason why, like I said, I got my residency, because I didn't want to play that game of anything. I wanted to be here legally and have roots into the ground, because when you do that, then you can't take that away unless I commit crimes, and I'm not over here committing crimes, y'all. I'm just not, but it's important that I share the facts, at least what my experiences are, so you guys can make an informed decision for yourselves. it's just changing. Things are changing every day. And my once small little sleepy community is now being severely impacted by people that are coming in and with no respect for the Mexican people here. And to me, that's really hard to digest as well. You have entitled people that are coming here in all races and all nationalities, but you have lots of entitled people who come here and they don't want to follow the country's rules, or they come with their own country's rules and think that their country rules are supposed to be here, and it doesn't work like that. So on one end, I'm happy about them enforcing their rules so all people can play by those same games. And then it's kind of interesting to see too how people get so angry about immigration when those of us who come from the States, and how the United States does immigration, it's just fucked up. It's just not even. Okay, it's just not even at all. At all. The people that are coming into the States, they wait years for citizenship. They have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. It's just not fair. And all Mexico is like, listen, if you want to come here, if you want to live here, follow the rules and do things right. But people don't want to do that, so they're mad. There's an outrage. The outrage is unnecessary. Just bring your documentation. Be here legally. Like, that's not so hard. At least in my opinion, it's not so hard. Just be here legally. But if you're not here legally, you're going to be mad about it. You're going to be like, well, why they going to do this? Why they going to do that? Just be here legally and there won't be any problems. Carry your documentation. And if you are coming to explore, if you're coming to see if this is a place where you want to live, then prepare. You have to prepare now. It's not the same from when I was doing this. And even when I was doing this, I didn't even know how I could do it because they made it almost impossible for me. But I kept fighting and I just didn't give up. I went where anybody would listen to me. That's where I went. That's where I was. So again, I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable. I don't want to make anybody feel like, oh, well, I just want to be honest. And I want to share my experience and my opinions so it can help someone else to avoid a pitfall, or maybe they didn't know. And if you're not in this country and you don't know anybody and you don't know what the process is, and you don't know what questions to ask. And it's important to ask the right questions so you can get the right results. And, I try to do that, but a lot of times, I don't know. Everybody's experience is different. You can have, and that's the thing with Mexico. There is no streamline of what's right and what's wrong. It really all depends on who you get. And when you come through the airport and they're stamping your information and they're asking you questions and you're nasty as hell with them, how many days do you think they're going to give you? And you got a bad attitude. I mean, it's literally, that's kind of how it works. Okay? It's really kind of how it works. They have policies and procedures, yes, but they're also people. And as soon as you toss up your nose to them, when you're asking to be in their country, it's like, come on. Why are you cussing out the people? That's not going to get you anything. If anything, it's going to get you asked to step to the side. So I know that this information isn't pleasant, but it's also important. I woke up this morning, as you can see, I was like, I don't need to put on any makeup. I can't. This is really important information, and I wanted you guys to know it. Does anybody have any questions? I think I can figure out how to do this. Does anybody have any questions? How do I see the responses? I think I go through this every time. I don't know. Wait, no. Show chat. Look at God. Woo! Look at this. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, well, nobody has any questions. Okay. So if you don't have questions, can you let me know if this information was a little helpful? I do think I need to streamline what I'm talking about, because I tend to go off on a whole different road of everything, and I tend to put all my experiences in one. So I'm going to work on being a little bit more concise with my ideas and how I present it to you guys, so you guys can get the right information without me crying and being overly emotional about things. But sometimes I can't help it, because that's just how I feel, it's just I get emotional. Can I start an informational guide about moving to Mexico? That's a really good idea. And maybe I can try to just do it in one video, so people can come and say, okay, I need this, and use as a checkpoint. Not only for Mexico, but other countries as well. And what I have decided that I'm going to do, if the culture around here doesn't change, I love Vallarta so much. However, the crime is it's literally surged. And I've been coming here every year for like the last 10 years. And the crime that I'm seeing is just ridiculous. And it's not like dangerous crime, like no one's been killed, but there's been a lot of theft. Like I explained to you guys, my house was robbed. I mean, not robbed, burglarized while I was gone. And I just was devastated. I was devastated. And it took me a while to feel safe in my house again. My house was never burglarized in the States. I just never had that experience. I mean, I did have my car broken into by a crackhead, but that was different. It didn't feel like this, and it wasn't just me. It was my neighbors as well. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to wait till she leaves. No, it was like planned and clean. My house it was nothing. It was devastating. So I left after I came back. I left and I went on vacation because I just needed some sleep, and I couldn't sleep here. So, that was like difficult for me. Like, wow, like they really came to my house and got my shit. Like they really did this. And then as soon as that happened, I started to hear so many other stories of people being, their homes being broken into. Either they were robbed in person, or sometimes the taxis taking them places they're not supposed to be. It was just a lot in such a short amount of time. And some of the cases, they were able to release video of people, and none of them are from Vallarta. They are like just coming here for the opportunity to steal people's shit and to get over. It's not the people that are here. It's not the hardworking citizens. It's not. It's criminals. And criminals see tourists as opportunities. They're carrying large sums of money. They are oblivious to anything. They're in YOLO mode. So they're not really paying attention. And, there's just certain things that we need to do, especially as women. If you're traveling, and this is something that I was doing as well, traveling by myself in countries that I wasn't sure about. One thing about me is I know how to fight. I know how to whoop your ass, okay? But whooping ass doesn't mean anything when you're not around. Like that doesn't mean anything. And just because I know how to fight doesn't mean that I can fight a gun or a knife or anything like that. So I'm very aware of my surroundings. I pay attention. I just don't although I love strangers and I often like go off with them, I also have like a vibe that I get from people. And if something tells me, ooh, no, then I go with that as well. I have to remain safe. I think I don't romanticize, things that I shouldn't. I just don't, because it's not safe and it doesn't make sense. So I'm very vigilant in what it is that I do, for myself and my own safety. What else? What else? And this is big. This is big. I never would thought I would feel this way. But it's just really unsettling. The amount of crime that has happened in just literally the last couple of months. And with immigration, the crime, like everything just is, it's overwhelming all at one time. However, I'm not really that concerned with immigration because it's really a simple fix. Come here legally. And if you are here, then, just carry your documents so there is no detainment. If you just do what they're asking you to do, it won't be a problem. Yeah. Do I think that this place will be where I will be for the rest of my life? Yes. I will be in this country at some point for the duration. However, I still plan on living in other countries short term. And I'll just keep my home here and live around the country and work around the country. That's what I plan on doing. My needs have changed. My outlook on life has changed, all for the better. I am so happy. I am so grateful for my life. I am so grateful for all of you who are looking at new opportunities to live and to thrive. I knew that this move wasn't just for me, that this move was for all of you who were like me and wanted more, but maybe just didn't know how to get more. This move was impactful and powerful, and it reset my spirit, my motivation, my purpose. The biggest reward for me is my kids and how it took me leaving for them to thrive. Sometimes when you have resources so close to you, you don't really realize that they're a resource. And once that resource is gone, you value it differently. Many of us complain about our jobs. Oh, this job make me sick. But the minute they say you fired, or the minute they say you don't have it no more, you wanted it. You cherish it. You realize how much it was giving you, and you needed that. Or it exposes the greatness in you, and it gives you this ability to show that you can still thrive without them. And with my kids, I was able to parent them better because I wasn't swimming in so much stress. I wasn't swimming in just trying to do it all. I wasn't swimming in unrest in my mind. I wasn't always trying to get the next thing. I was able to fall back and just be me and focus on me and being the mother, being the wife, being the best version of me wholeheartedly. Where my focus wasn't just money and making it. My focus was me being a better person. Naturally. That was a byproduct of my move. I am internally grateful for this country, for its love, for its acceptance, for its ability to process things that the U.S. never could see in me. And I'll always be grateful. You know, I get a lot of messages, even still, asking me why I chose Mexico to live. And I didn't choose Mexico. It really chose me. It really did. It chose me. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful to live in a place where I feel love. I feel seen. And my care and contribution to society is appreciated. And that's why I feel like it's my, not a duty, but I want to share the good, the great, the not so good, and the things that could be improved. Because that's what makes that's what makes something great. You know, it's what makes it great. You learn from your mistakes. You learn from what could be better. And you propel yourself into the next chapter of your life. You know, fear is one of those things where I was never fearful of anything because I felt like I couldn't lose what I didn't have. I could only not work toward it, and that was never an option. I'll never give up in anything that I do. Never. Never. I'll always keep going, and I'll always put the foot down behind it and in front of it and on the side of it to keep going and to remain stable. That's all I know how to do. So when things are hard or things are difficult, I will always find a solution. So for those of you, again, who want to come and explore this beautiful country and you want to see where you want to be and where you want to end up, my suggestion is to stay 2 weeks at a time in each place, map it out, improve your onward travel. This way, they don't think that you're staying here with, you know, you're living here without residency. So you buy your ticket, your plane ticket. I'll be in this Airbnb or this hotel from this time to this time at this address. Here's my flight. Here's my bus ticket for the next part. I'll be here and here for this amount of time. Here and here for this amount of time. So you can prove that you are going through the country and leaving the country. And then at the end, you can, if you decide that you want to stay, not stay, but if they give you that amount of time, then you're good to go. If you have these things planned and they only give you a certain amount of time, there's no way around that. There's no way around it. What people were doing, and this is another reason why they were deporting people. People were like, okay, they only gave me 20 days, but I'm just here. I'll just pay the $500 and some odd at the airport on the way out just to get the fine for, losing that other piece. And then immigration started to get hip to that. So what people were doing was just like overstaying their visa and just paying the $500 peso, which is about between $25 and $35 at the airport to then get another FMM and leave. But they're cracking down on all of that because, again, people started to abuse it. And here we are. So I'm going to go now. I think that I covered everything that I was supposed to. Again, I just went down the road of not the right one. And here we are 35 minutes later. Okay. Yep. Okay, guys. No more questions? Comments? Nothing? We're good? Solid? Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys, for tuning in on a Sunday. dealing with me and all of my different aisles of thoughts and no makeup and so somewhat rambling, but I hope that it was helpful. I hope that it was useful, and I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.